kind of over the concept of this one shot. The plan is basically for all of our one shots to kind of be part of Australis. So this one will be set 25 years before our current campaign. Timeline wise, obviously the Warforged Rebellion, Elliot, is 25 years before the campaign, but that is still 75 years after.
So you've worded it so confusingly. So in our campaign, it's 70 years post-war. So that's 70 years after the Warforged Rebellion War ended. Okay. This one shot is 25 years prior to our campaign. So it's 25 years in the past of our campaign, which means obviously it's 45 years post-war. So it's closer. Like the Warforged War is definitely fresher, but it's still 45 years ago. It's still a while ago. So yeah. So it's just basically we're 25 years in the past of our current campaign. So what would all of our characters would pretty much be like 5 years old, other than.
Oh right, I'm with you.
So technically, my warning to you earlier about make sure you don't make it too OP because Elliot will come and kill us all with it in our actual campaign. Some old geezers just going to turn up.
25 years of leveling up.
And considering they're already level kind of 5, we'd be in pieces early doors. I'm pretty sure by the time they get to us. So your setting for this one shot. You are northeast of Renvalen, so obviously we had the map where we were travelling to Ashtara. We are basically next peak along. The final harbour town, basically, between the border of kind of Westholm and Ashtara. So it's that final place. So, perched on the rocky coast, the Merchant's Rest is a harbour town full of vital importance, the final trading stop before the long road to Ashtara. Though modest in size, it's long been a place of noise, colour and motion. Merchants, sailors and wanderers once crowded its docks and taverns, filling the air with the scent of spice and salt. Overlooking it all stood the Stormlight, a towering lighthouse of silverstone and enchanted glass. Its magical beam, said to be visible for miles, was a symbol of safety and wonder, guiding ships through even the darkest storms. However, no ships have been seen for the last few days, and one day ago the Stormlight went dark. Now the harbour lies quiet, no ships enter, no goods are traded, the markets are closed and the usual clamour has given way to whispered concern. The townsfolk are starting to worry. Something is wrong in the Merchant's Rest, and time may be running out to find out why. So that is basically our concept of where your characters would be fitting into this one shot. Okay. So as we kind of said prior to this, you guys are basically a group of mercenaries. So my first question to you guys would basically be, how long would you say you've been together prior to this one shot?
So Joe, you're DMing, but you also have a player character, like when I play Krez and play Priya. So your input would also be good. But I would say, just going by the fact that we're level 5 only, we're not going to be massively experienced. It's not like we're level 10 or 15.
Probably same time as about the Heralds have been together, no? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd say we've probably been. What do you reckon? We'd maybe 6 months, half a year. We'd been travelling together and working together.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Where would we have met? Because we seem to be from. Well, I know that my character, what I've got in my head at the moment, is not going to be exactly so involved with all sorts of different people, you know. I know that Kieran's thinking of possibly doing a lizard folk character.
Oh, so I have gone for. I've got a gecko kind of species lizard folk man.
Okay, so where would you say, Joe, that we kind of all met? Was it like some sort of...
I would say, based on this place, there are very few people that actually kind of live here. Most of
Oh, well,
the
this town?
things, yeah, this town is basically kind of trading places,
Hub. Yeah.
so do
restaurants,
we live
bars,
there then?
taverns. I would say you've got like a business place. So
Base of
our group,
operation.
yeah, basically has just a HQ where we pick up jobs from. Basically, it's the place where you get all the sorts of murmurs of things going on, and then you go, okay, we could go do that.
Okay.
Let's get money
Where
by
about
going
the-
on that shit.
I mean, not to get into Bethesda territory too much, but it's almost like a little fighters guild outpost from a
Bingo.
beacon kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, that's the sort of vibe we're after. Kind of, they know
So
where we're
where-
at. Come
Where
to
do we
us.
situate? Like, where are we in like the main? Where are we in
Merchant's
West?
Rest, isn't it?
Yes, the Merchant's Rest is what it's called. So if you imagine, Brad, you've got Rem Valen, which
Yep.
was just off the edge of Astara. So kind of you're here to the border was there. It's
Yep.
the next peak up is Merchant's Rest. So that final bit before crossing into the border of Astara.
So we are close to Rembalen. That is
Yes,
something
yeah.
accessible to us.
That would
Right,
be your
sure.
next town down to the left, or your next city.
Okay.
It'd be quite
mean,
a
I-
journey though, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
for going
it'd still
from
be quite.
map.
I mean, I don't know too much about the lore that you guys have made, Elliot, and all of that, but my guy would be from like a jungle territory or something like that, if there is one.
I think your guy would it would make more sense that you would be from Felidorica, so like the
So you would have long
the
hauled it all
continent
the
which
way.
has like the all of the tabaxis and stuff.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
where the
fine by
kind
me.
of quite
Yeah, yeah.
exotic the exotic races.
It's an
are often from there.
exotic climate, which has got like a lot of forests,
Yeah.
but also like ravines and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's got all sorts of different different. It's kind of like America in a way that it's got pretty much every different type of biome you can imagine throughout the different states. You know, it's a massive
So
great
I've
big
got
place. It's mostly
Felidorica, did you say that's called?
yeah. So it's it'll be on the map. I'll have to send you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I'll
yeah.
just put
over.
it in the WhatsApp.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'll obviously put
So
it
it's
on
like
this
it's
and
primarily Tabaxi, but there is also like the other races.
Okay, yeah,
other
yeah,
kind
that's
of
fine.
exotic
Yeah, yeah,
races.
that's cool. So I'd say probably he would be not on the border, but he'd be nearer to West Home than further away, maybe.
Yeah, I would
It'd
say
be like
probably
the-
that
like the
second
central-
peak in the
Central Mass or something of Felidorica, maybe.
but it's
So
basically
we, as a group of, so we're kind of like odd jobs, mercenaries, almost
Yeah.
like monster hunters, kind of stuff that comes up and needs a bit of muscle and a bit of figuring out. So we are based in the town where this stuff is going on. So we're
Yeah.
based in, was it Merchant's Rest?
that's it. Yeah,
So it's kind of like right, okay. So it's kind of like we've not been hired in. It's kind of like we're
No.
all like always doing stuff around West Home and stuff,
you know,
and
it's
maybe
a
the
busy
fringes of
place to pick
Ashtara.
up jobs.
And then all of a sudden this has happened, and we've been hired by a local, which is a bit different for us.
Okay.
So at this
Am I
moment,
right?
you
I
haven't
don't know. I'm not...
you haven't been given this job. It's just you've noticed the change. Obviously, you're used to, or we're all used to, a lot of people flowing into this town, giving us kind of rumours of things going on, and then you kind of throw your
Right.
name out there. But at the moment, it's just there's no one coming. No one's really sure why. But obviously, when we start that session, things will become
Fine.
apparent pretty quick and
Yeah,
go on from
cool.
there. But at the
Okay,
moment,
then.
it's not been given to you as a job.
Mhm.
It's just you've noticed this kind of something's different. It's
Well,
definitely much
surely
quieter.
we're not picking up jobs because no one's turning up. I
Exactly.
think.
So that's what you've
Yeah.
started to pick up in the last few days, and then finally that massive lighthouse on the edge that usually has a massive beaming light is off.
Mm.
So now something's definitely up.
Okay.
It would definitely be on your guys' radar.
Okay.
But I suppose it's probably a good idea to then go around person by person, maybe go off of the classes that you've all picked to start, and then a bit deeper in. So, if someone want to go first on that one?
I was also thinking, just for
Go
the
on.
sake of, obviously we're going to have a group of people which have known each other for like a better part of a year. I was thinking like there's little bits and pieces that we might know or not know about each other. I was thinking if each character kind of comes up with a rumor which might have been heard throughout the whole group. Each person has one or two rumors about them, which
Oh, good
people,
lord.
everyone in the group knows, but No one knows if they're true, and maybe we'll just, the only person that knows is the DM. Maybe we'll all tell the DM, these are the rumours about us. This one's true, this one's not, or they're both true, or they're both false, you know? I think
14's
it's,
eating a baby. There you go. There's top rumor. Rumor number 1.
That's just fact.
Eating a baby.
That sounds
It's a
like a
lizard
lizard
man,
folk
isn't
thing.
he?
That.
Yeah,
That's the northern end of
that's lizard man racism in action right there.
yeah.
That's a little rumor going over Merchant's Rest, and he's like, it's not true.
Good
lord.
But is it? That's the question.
What was the quick out of body question, just so I can kind of decipher my character a little bit? What was the name of the Assassin's Guild in our campaign again?
The Silent Blade Consortium.
Would that have been around during this time?
Would have been
25
very early
years,
doors.
yeah.
Would have been very early doors. So that's in Renvalen.
Okay.
And also bear in mind, and I don't know if you still are, but I know you were mentioning, Corley, about possibly being a tabaxi. For the name of tabaxis, they're always kind of the first thing that is seen when they're born. So it's like Streaking Wind, Burning Hut, Crescent Moon, all of these. They're always, and then it's usually like a shortening of that, just for the tabaxi culture vibe, you know.
Okay.
You won't ever find a tabaxi which is like called Dave.
Let me.
Unless the first thing he saw was someone called Dave.
Yeah, oh Dave, oh now you're Dave.
God damn it! Oh, tabaxi law. Good lord. Do you want to do those, or maybe go over what we already kind of have thought about? Everyone start thinking of a couple of rumours, and we'll drop that in after. Elliot, you are the most prestigious in this way. Do you want to give us your class and race?
So yeah,
should
we just go for like the basic stuff first for
Yeah,
everyone, and then go more in depth as we go around, because we'll probably give each other ideas.
Well, I'm still like struggling with a few things for mine. So.
Well, yeah,
that's what
we can work through them together. You know?
A base idea, yeah.
I mean, I'm relatively certain of my character that I want to play, but I'm open to change if anyone thinks there's better ideas.
But
I really enjoy your one, Elliot, I can't lie.
What is it that you're unsure about, Corley?
Just, I was going to have him link, obviously, to the Silent Blade Consortium and say that, and use that as my background in a sense that it's a new thing and they've stationed, obviously, they've got together. They've obviously built a group up, and they've said, right, okay, you're stationed here, you're stationed somewhere else in the country, you're stationed down here in the country, and that's how we're going to operate and send messages to each other, and that's how you're going to. So if someone's got a bounty up where we're residing, then it will be my job to go and hunt them down.
Okay, so you're kind of like a on call. Constantly on call person, so it's like a side gig, like this is your main gig and that's a side gig, or it could always be that where you're kind of a lower level guy, maybe before you can join the consortium you have to get that they want more experience.
Dark Brotherhood, you got to go smack some killer.
That's why you're getting a bit more experience in more of a well-rounded thing, because if we're doing like all sorts, it could be the odd bounties, it could be odd jobs, monster hunting, anything, that could be a good bit of experience for
you to
that
prove
job
yourself
in the consortium that you want. But it's up to you. So it could be whatever.
But timeline-wise, Elliot, that would work, wouldn't it? He's just in a start.
Yeah, because it would still be open. It would still be open. It would just be quite new. Whereas at the minute, there, like in our campaign, there's probably maybe 30 odd bounty hunters in there. This would be like the owner and maybe 5.
So you could be one of the originals, Brad, which would be sick to kind of come
OGs.
Back to in the campaign and just hear your name again. Like, oh, that's me.
That'd be good. That'd be good. I mean, Thorin Bluefake came out of nowhere.
Yeah. So that was a random one shot I just did to kind of go over D&D.
Also on the iPad, that's Talking Iron Fist. That was the game that got laid out in the tree.
And then you, spoiler alert, Murdered him. Murdered your own character.
Yep, full circle, baby.
Nice full circle, yeah, rounding that off. But yeah, so my if we just go over our class and then our race, and then we can take it from there. Give everyone ideas. But so I'm going for. I was initially thinking I'd take this because no one would want it, but then it turned out everyone wanted it, which took me by surprise because I've heard everyone just complains
I'll
about
be
this
honest,
class.
they usually are dog shit. That is
Yeah,
the
that's
kind
the
of
thing. I
go
was
to.
like, I'll take the dog shit one. So I'm going with Ranger. So I'm going for a Ranger. I just thought this would be good for this sort of. It would make a bit of sense for this one shot where the job that they're doing would be a pretty good thing for it to have a Ranger about, and a bit of a tracker and stuff like that. And I'm going for a Warforged. So I won't get into too much detail, but yeah, it's a Warforged who's basically, obviously, he's been in the war, and so 45 years ago the war ended, and he's kind of going through a bit of an identity journey. So he's not just a killing machine anymore. So he's gone more of a dignified, less savage way of going about things. So he's kind of more of a at arm's length, kind of like a ranger, which would use like mainly bow and arrows. He doesn't like using melee weapons anymore.
So, cool.
I'll go more into that later on as we go into our characters a bit more in depth.
I like it. Kieran, do you want to go on your one?
Yeah, can do. So I've gone for a like a lizard man, gecko barbarian. So he kind of like looks a bit reminiscent of a crested gecko. So he's kind of like got like the crown of like little spikes and that kind of thing. He's got like chevron pattern goes down his like back and spine. He's got like a flared tail. He's got like kind of like hard scaled skin that kind of almost acts as his armor. He's kind of just got some chilled like robes over the top. I've shown Joe some reference, so hopefully he can work some magic.
Was it just photos of real life lizards?
One. Yeah, one. Yeah. But yeah, so his name's Vorkeen, and don't know too much about it. It's more like he was so he's from that area that we were saying. Was it Felidorica?
Yeah, so that continent with the Tabaxi continent, basically.
Yeah, so I think he was probably living there for most of his kind of like early life, and then just started like picking up jobs here and there, and not really with an aim in mind, but almost kind of just was journeying through chance, and maybe just made his way across the border, and then just met a few more people. But I'd say like in terms of his characteristics, I'm still kind of working it out. But I think he's quite cheerful and simple, like in general, kind of like daily life. But then when he goes into battle, he can go a bit unhinged and feral, almost like becomes like overcome with bloodlust, and he's like two different people.
It was a bit like Jake from Adventure Time.
Yeah, similar kind of thing, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much. It's got a massive great axe and a javelin, which he kind of specializes in.
How big is he? How because gecko sounds small. Is he?
Yeah, so I'd say he's almost like a little bit of an aberration of his community.
Right.
Yeah, so I'd say like compared to like most, he's actually quite a hulking, probably like 7 foot tall, and he almost looks like a little bit shouldn't look that way almost.
Yeah. So he's the freak
like,
of the village.
An anomaly. But yeah, due to his nature and stuff, he's kind of just always just been accepted or just kind of taken at face value.
Yeah. No, I like the sound of it. It would be interesting to see you play him. It's very different to your usual. Well, saying that our first ever one with the Goliath. But that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I can barely even remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done that one. What about Mr. Bradley? Is your have you you know the bare basics of your character?
I have gone with a fighter class this time, and I am going to be a Tabaxi as well, from the same continent as Kieran's character. I'm gonna have kind of thoughts of a name. Obviously, I've changed due to I want to keep with Elliot's kind of lore in the sense that obviously the Tabaxi were born with kind of like the first thing that was around or seen by them at the time. So we'll come up. Hopefully, I'll come up with that possibly during this session. But I kind of wanted him to be. It's hard to get away from because I think Saber's quite a serious character at most times, but Saber's got a bit of a funny streak in him. I think sometimes, you know, he's got that kind of. So kind of want him to be just in that like middle zone, and he's found his peace by moving away from his continent because he knows what clans are like to engage with each other in his home continent. They're very volatile against each other. So if you've got like a different kind of fur or your tail's made in a different way or something odd, then
very judgmental.
but he kind of grew up learning like crafts and stuff from his home region, and he's taken a lot of his fighting styles and his use of making. He wears leather armor, which he made himself. And obviously his clan has taught him how to do that, and he kind of sticks by those things, even though he kind of resents his like origin country, and you know what they do. What he's kind of thinks, why can't everybody getting along in a sense? And it's kind of made him found his peace because you haven't seen, you know, for certain, but most Tabaxis we've come across when we've had Krez in the party in our campaign with the Heralds, you know, they're not really they might be thinking it, but they're not really, you know, like hostile towards each other. Not that we've seen yet anyway, apart from like the some of the characters we have seen, like Gut, and in our recent episode 3, the Tabaxi wizard. But then again, we're yet to kind of get to that part of Krez's story, aren't we? So that's as far as I've got anyway at the minute with my character. So
yeah, that's decent. That's good.
Well,
yeah, we've definitely not had the best examples of kind Tabaxis in our campaign. So
do you know what subclass you're going for, Corley?
not too sure yet. I'm going to think of a name, and I'm literally about to get on and have a butcher's at that in a second when I get a chance. I just got to plug my phone on charge or something. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's decent. That's decent.
Don't ask me what voice is going on yet, because that's yet to be a surprise.
Oh, okay, for a surprise.
Just keeping it in.
It's gonna be the most. What is it? What is it on Skyrim or Elder Scrolls?
Oh,
it's like,
what if you have wares? Yeah.
To be fair, I was thinking of putting an Aussie accent on, but we'll see.
Aussie, yeah, that's interesting.
Go on, give us a little piece.
I've heard plenty of his Aussie accent, and it's not PG. Yeah, Joe, what's your player character?
So I have gone to kind of spice up, and I knew you guys would never pick something that's actually going to help each other, so I've gone cleric. But I've basically tried to pick something that will keep you guys alive and that can kind of take a back edge into it all. I didn't want to go bard or anything like that, so it's more of a roleplay thing, something that I can just sit at the back and maybe drop some heals in. But
so basically, you're going to be trying to kill us and heal us as the DM.
Exactly. I'm balancing the scales here.
Someone's going to be on their death saving throw. You're like, oh, I could do cure wound, but
I could save them. But
I'm just going to turn this character to kill you and turn them against you. But it's actually a gnomish lady that is going to be playing.
Oh my word!
Named Lynette Brillanfoy.
You can't even say it.
No,
so
I'm going to say
your character.
But Lynette is basically what you need. Brillanfoy. She's French style as such. Hence that's the kind of path I'm going with. Yeah, she's very soft and I would say she kind of has a loving vibe to her, but at the same time you can kind of sense there is quite a storm brewing inside, and she kind of resembles that in the god that she follows. In her armour, it's represented in this kind of a thunderous storm.
She like the matriarch of the group kind of thing then.
Yeah, how old is she? Is she young? I mean, gnomes live for a long time, but I mean,
She-
appearance-wise.
Appearance-wise, looks kind of like 25, 26, I would say. So very youthful, but she could still be like 200 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's been going about a while. She's not your usual healer cleric, I would say. So she's got a bit of. I suppose you guys would have seen her do some kind of links to this storm lord that she's with. So she has control over the weather that way. Yeah. How would you guys say your kind of hierarchy works, or the team hierarchy? Would there be a clear leader? Would you all be equals?
I'd say like Vorkeen would probably be like, I'd say he's maybe the newest to the group just because he's had such a long journey. Like he's probably like the most recent addition perhaps, and it'd maybe be the one that gets like the tasks that others don't perhaps want to do or something like that.
Okay, yeah, like
Like
the rookie.
in the run up to this, yeah, like
you're getting all the kind of hazing.
So maybe this is kind of like his opportunity to be like, oh, like I'm an actual member kind of
Yeah, cool. So you're the runt of the pack.
Because maybe he's not actually, because I think maybe he's like not actually been seen in combat yet necessarily.
Okay, so you've done
that could
kind
be
of the
quite
easier
entertaining.
jobs, maybe. That leaves me
he's
kind
maybe
of.
done the more menial tasks.
So
or
this
like
is like your first
information.
Well, this will possibly be your first big job if
Big
it does
mission.
turn into
Yeah,
a big
yeah.
job.
So he's done like the menial stuff, or like investigating, or like carrying things, or like making sure all the equipment's sorted, stuff like that. Maybe
Cleaning the equipment cupboard
Big
sort of
old,
thing.
big old.
he's like almost like the squire of the group, but because he's such like a hulking boy, it's just like, yeah, he can just carry everything.
Yeah, I like that. He's the donkey.
Also, because obviously, like where he's a gecko or whatever, say there was like a thing where it's like up a mountain, like he's just got all of the luggage and he's just like
grippy boy.
Climb straight.
Yeah, I like it. So that you're the lower one. How do the other two / myself fit in? Would you say?
I would.
Go on,
Go, you
Breathy.
want to go? Go, yeah. I was going to say, I think hearing Elliot's description of his Warforged, obviously just coming outside of the Warforged war, and he's trying to Saber find himself a little bit. And I was going to say, I think my character would probably take charge more in a sense.
Yep.
Seeing as he's grown up, learned all the crafts and fighting styles and trade, and he kind of puts on like a stern foot to everybody else. Like obviously Kieran's just saying he's more of like the newer like body of the group, so it's kind of like he's more directional in his
How old would your guy be roughly?
I would probably say not old, but like more on our path, more on the 30s to 35 kind of region.
Because I just remembered something, and it kind of links to what I was saying. Like with the lizard folk, I think they fully mature by like 9. I think it is. So it's like a rapid growth.
I remember. Yeah, there was another one that was like that.
I reckon my guy's like got the mentality of like, or like not the mentality of, but like the youth of like a teenager. He's like 14, 15, like he's only that old. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's how old is he? How old is he actually?
He's like 14, like 15.
14,
like
but he is like, so age-wise, he's
like,
been alive for 14 years.
He's basically like an adult.
Man. Yeah. So he's an adult. It's almost like if you're looking at it.
The life expectancy is like 30, isn't it, for like those things? So he's
I think
near about 30s.
Yeah, in terms of like the appendix, it was saying like they can get up to like 40 or 50, but it said like also generally it was like most can live up to like a century is like a flat general rule. But yeah, I'd say they may be like maximum like 50 or 60 perhaps.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's 14, but it's like that's basically an adult for him.
Yeah.
Well, it is an adult.
my Warforged. So a bit more about him, a bit more about his deal. So my Warforged is Beaumont Quell, and this is a name which he's given himself. So he's since and this the reason I'm saying this, I'll explain why it ties into this. He's after the war, he basically wanted to get so far away from it and be so after the horrors he saw at war, and possibly committed at war. He wanted to now in a time of peace, basically completely reinvent himself with the freedom which the Warforged never had before, because they were basically property before. They didn't have identity. So he's on like an identity journey to find his own unique kind of person within himself. So he's brought his own name out, and now he wants to be so far removed from like the savagery of war. He's kind of obsessed with kind of like gentlemanly behavior. So he won't use melee weapons. He won't be up close and personal. He keeps afar with a longbow always. He sees that's how he kind of distances himself from that savage nature which he kind of sees as like like a warring individual. So he kind of feels it's like a gentleman's weapon is his bow, and he's always dressed in
an arrow through the neck. That's a polite way.
Arrow in the neck. As long as he doesn't get his hands dirty, you can do it with his silk gloves. He sees it like he finds it savage to be getting up close and personal. And he's wearing his like gentlemanly attire. Sometimes he might even chuck a monocle in. Zero need for it. He's Warforged. There's no ocular issues with them. So it's kind of like he's almost like a Chris Eubanks sort of character.
Oh my god!
Like an absolute beast, but in a gentleman package, you know. So I'd say as he's after the war, he kind of like explored around to find himself. He spent a lot of time like in the southern mountains with the dwarves, and he's been all around the continent, and he's kind of like come into this experience and joined this group of people in the past year, almost more out of curiosity, and just for the experience. So the last thing he wants is to kind of be the person in charge, because it just reminds him of war again. He doesn't want that kind of like that kind of hierarchy or that kind of giving any orders. But he's just there to kind of experience things, and he might be ready to go at the drop of a hat, or he might enjoy it, you know. But he certainly doesn't want to be there leading the troops, because again, anything that reminds him of war is a deal breaker for Beaumont.
I like it. We're going deeper as well. We've gone over how you guys fit together. How would your group be treating the people of Merchant's Rest? So, like I said before, there's not a lot of residents, but you've got like the tavern keeps. There's kind of a few lords that are quite rich there. Would we
be well known there?
Yeah, I think obviously having a merc group in the town where it's not a lot of people, I think especially kind of a trades town, they might have pirates turn up that they need sorting out. They might have shit that they need to do. Like some of the lords might just be like, I need you to go and do these sorts of jobs. So would you...
You'd be wanting to keep them on the side, surely, because it's just like future customers, I guess.
So you think you'd have a good relationship as such?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, I suppose we could all answer for our own characters, just for their individual personalities. I'd say Beaumont would. He'd kind of be very social, as I say. He's trying to take in all cultures and all kind of experiences like a sponge, and he's the furthest from hostile, because again, he fought so hard for peace. He doesn't want to lose that, and he certainly wouldn't be the tool which starts that lack of peace. So he's always very, very friendly, very passive, and more interested in the finer things. So he's very interested in the cargoes coming in. He's very interested in the merchants, especially if they're bringing in their fine silks and their fine fabrics and items. So it's just very just very curious and interested and like soaking in all of what can. I think that's probably what maybe drew him to this town. What was it called again? Was it Merchants
Merchant's Rest.
His rest, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what drew him to Merchant's Rest, is probably because he just saw so much traffic and so much flow of all of these different cultures and different fine goods, and he thought, oh, could be a good place to learn a thing or two and experience a few things. And that's where he then met this company and thought, oh, I could put my skills to good use in a right way here. So I'd say, yeah, he would definitely be nothing but welcoming and polite, and I think it would be hard for anyone to have a bad word to say about Beaumont in Merchant's Rest, other than your generic warforged racism from people.
Yeah, I think, well, even I suppose it's a bit closer to that sort of period, but the same sort of thing. Like I'm saying, you'd have such a mixture of people coming and going here that I don't think usually they would have a time to judge it based on race. And the fact is, some of these people that might turn up would probably slit a throat just for shits and giggles, because it could be any sort of thing. It might not just be traders, it might be pirates stopping off for a stop just before going across to the Ashtaran border, bits like that. So I suppose them seeing you as a warforged, some of them maybe, but most of them would just be like, oh, it's another kind of someone coming in. Maybe a slight bit of racism towards you, but not full on.
There's a bit more acceptance, because they see such a vast range of people.
Exactly.
It's not like this is the first time anyone's seen someone that looks different to them and their family. It's a melting pot of a town.
Yes, exactly that. So from kind of what we've gathered from all this, I think mine and Brad's character would have been the longest members in this section.
And I also think that I did want to ask, do we have, because none of us started the company. No. Do we have a boss that we answer to which started this company, which obviously is the one which gets the coin and disperses it out?
I would suppose maybe one of the lords might be putting you up in one of their houses from where you can work from. So I don't know if it works with you guys, but potentially...
It's like a patron or like whatever kind of thing.
A sponsor, So he might be just, I take a percentage of the cuts, but you can work through here, you can have free board or whatever. And it might be that myself and Brad's characters have done a few jobs around and they're like, okay, let's get this going, let's put you up somewhere so I can use you myself. And then obviously you guys have turned up, looked for a place to stay. Maybe we've seen that you're, well, maybe not the lizard, but seen that you got a bit of talent, muscle behind you. You could be put to use, and then just put you to the test in a few different circumstances, and then we get to this point.
There have been some sort of like backstory in a sense that mine and your characters, Joe, have gone on some sort of mission, and then not by chance, but like Elliot's character has jumped in to help us, and we've been like, oh, okay, come back here, and then eventually like Kieran's character, like we've been on a mission, and you know, there's a scenario on the floor and someone's about to stab me, and this fucking like arrow just comes out of nowhere, and then that's Elliot's character that we've been like
100%,
like, keeping the peace in the most violent way possible.
We've been like, oh, who are you? And he's like, oh, Bowman or whatever his character's name is, and we're like, oh,
I like the idea that Borkeen became like known because like someone tried to start on Elliot's character like in a pub or like in a bar. And I just haven't even said anything. I've just clocked him, and then that's it. I'm like, hello.
So that's a good point. That's a good point, actually. So, like, maybe more so, Joe and Corley's characters are slightly closer because they've known each other longer, and maybe mine and Kieran's characters are closer because they kind of joined at roughly the same time. And they kind of got that in common because. Joe, there was going to be some magical items that we have, but it basically ties the two of us together each rather than all four of us together. So perhaps that's
the link between there.
That could be the link.
100%. Did you want to go over that a bit?
Yeah, so basically, this is up to the DM as to how we went about getting these or whatever. Perhaps it was even the Lord that gave them to us, but we'd have us as a team have magic items, which it's like basically a little bangle, like a little metal bracelet, which when whispered into, it comes out of the bangle, the opposing bangle attached. So
We got walkie-talkies.
yeah,
Exactly,
it's fantasy
yeah.
walkie-talkies basically. But it only works. It's only like it's basically a cup on a string, you know. So the others
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
hear it. It will only be whoever has that other bangle. But this
Yeah,
could be the perfect example for it to be. Maybe mine and Kieran's go together, and Joe's and Corley's go together, or the complete opposite, because we're both the newer guys.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
both answer to one of the other higher spending.
I think that probably
higher
makes
standing.
more sense, to be fair.
So
Yeah.
what? Just from this kind of conversation, I would say there is a noble lord that goes by the name of Benji Frogwater.
Frogwater.
Yeah.
So
he a frog by any
he's
chance?
a gnome as well. So I think he probably would have picked
Okay.
up on Lunette at the start, also being gnomish.
Yeah.
So I think in that sense, maybe he's seen me and Brad together, given us a task, sent us off on our way. You guys have rocked up maybe on 2 different boats. He's given you guys a task. Basically, he's like Samuel L. Jackson trying to build the Avengers together.
The Avengers.
And kind of, rather than, I suppose, for your context, money, maybe that wasn't a push, but this way you can talk to communicate between one another. Maybe he said, look, I've got this magical item. That was your payment for a task that you've done for him before, and he's kind of roped you in. And as you've come back from that, and we've come back from ours, we could have then potentially started to take on tasks together.
So that magical item is almost kind of like that's your license for this job. Like
Yes.
this is your contract kind of thing, and you've got the job basically.
Could we say that like your bangle links to your handler? So like obviously, like do you know like in like CIA and MI5 and all that, you have like the operative and you have a handler. Could you say it's like that?
The only thing is that with that, it was basically that as a kind of a distance archer, it was kind of a way of communicating that he wasn't going to, I suppose, not be if you're fucking 100 feet away shooting an arrow.
Oh yeah. No, that makes complete sense. I'm just saying like it was obviously where you were saying like it would be one of the newbies with one of the.
I'll tell you what could make sense, because that way it could kind of triangulate to everyone that way, is if, obviously Joe's going to be busy enough DMing, is if I have a bangle, Kieran has a bangle, and Corley has 2 bangles in which he talks to Kieran in one and me to the other. And that way, if I need to take a message to Kieran, I talk to Corley then talks to Kieran, and then that way it could work.
That sounds confusing as fuck.
Well, no, it's just Corley's the middleman, isn't he? That's it.
Yeah, I suppose as in being like the team lead.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, we could get that to work, to be fair. But I suppose that's the way. Yeah, we're all linked through this Benji, who's trying to create a team. So there are cuts, obviously, that he would take from each thing, but he might be able to find you jobs from a bit further afield.
Yeah, he's the boss.
Is there any work that the group?
Whoa! Size of this fucking moth!
Oh no!
Oh shit!
Jesus Christ!
Get this on
dragon.
a short. Get this on a short.
Oh my
It's
god!
because all those rave
Right.
lights you got going on, mate.
Yeah, it probably is. Probably is, mate.
Fucking needs to get out. It's out this window. It's hot in here, though. My god.
10 more moths coming in.
So,
Where'd he go? Where'd he
2
go?
group questions then. Would there be a minimum price? And what sort of work would your group not take if there was to be anything?
I'd say,
Dealings is the no. I'd say probably in it.
yeah, I'd
What?
say Beaumont would have no part in mindless violence.
Yep, so
Right, no part in
assassination
mindless
sort of thing.
violence. Yeah, nothing like that. Nothing that could end up getting you hanging from the gallows. But not because of his fear of that, more so for the fact that
past
he ain't
that.
he's there to do he's there to do helpful things and do basically get good experiences, and he's experienced that in his past, so there's no need for more of that. He has no interest.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like Reed, by the way, and I'll share the
Reed.
rest later.
Oh yes,
There we go.
I feel like Reed is more of the Captain America kind of style, passive kind of role in that situation. Just like Elliot said with his character, there's no sense for mindless violence, but he'll get his hands dirty given in the situation. But he will always go around that kind of like passive route. Can we work this out first, or are we going to have to draw swords, like kind of thing?
I feel like Vorkeen's the bit of the odd element in that one, where he is like perfectly innocent, like in an everyday environment, and then as soon as there's like battle, it's like
Bit of excitement. Shit,
Yeah.
shit just goes
Yeah,
wherever
carried
you
away.
go.
Yeah.
Deer in headlights just hit. Bosh.
just like
Love it.
blood in the water, and his eyes are just like.
Yeah.
I like it. Well then, is there any sort of things that you're wondering then before?
I would say
Really?
for rumors. Again, we'll privately consult Joe with if which ones are true and which ones are false. I would say that the group somewhere down the grapevine had heard that Beaumont had, in his days of war, he used to collect the index fingers of his fallen enemies as trophies.
Sorry?
Yeah, what?
And another one is that they've heard reports that at night time around Merchant's Rest, there's been sightings of like dim, shining blue eyes peering in people's windows as they sleep.
Jesus
So
Christ.
there's been reports of Beaumont just watching people sleep.
Oh,
Again,
God.
these are just rumours, so true or false we don't know, but that's what
Both
we've
are
seen.
To be
Both
fair,
100% true.
Yeah, 100%.
But I
That's,
guess we'll never know. But yeah, so that's Beaumont's rumours. What are the other guys' rumours? So we got the baby eating a baby.
That's one of the legit rumors. Yeah, the other one would be for my guy that he's once taken 10 guards in a city that he's passed through in a fight.
Oh, in a fight, yeah. Make sure you
Yeah.
clarified that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. In a fight.
I took on 10 men and I fought 5.
there is never a PG stream of this kid.
Nobody's safe, mate. Nobody's safe.
There's 2 glowing eyes at the window.
Good lord.
Oh, good
Reed,
God.
what you got for us?
What's
I
Reed's
think
rumours?
mine's a little less kind of direct as the boys. I think although Reed's got this certain what's the word I'm looking for? Not popularity, but respect of like the townsfolk or anything else. I think the rumor about Reed is that he's a deserter of his country. When things got tough, instead of facing it, he hot towel and just got out of there, and everyone kind of has that weird inkling in the back of their head, like, "Oh, you're a deserter." Like, should we respect you enough? But then again, you do what you do here, so it's kind of like a weird situation. That's the only thing I can really get together at the minute.
Okay, so we definitely need to go more in depth of how these characters look. So we need these. We need to kind of describe them as in depth as if we were describing them to someone and they could draw it as we go.
Sorry, did you not want my rumours?
No, Kieran did a lot. Oh, sorry, yeah, of course. Lynette, is it Lynette?
Yeah, Lynette. Right, okay, here we
But
go.
none of us will know if they're true because there's no DM to tell them to. But that's the beauty of it.
There'll be signs.
Oh no.
So, rumor 1 is that she murdered her whole family using a storm, which is kind of where these crests have come from. Someone started this off in a tavern somewhere.
Okay.
The second one is she's got a thing going on behind people's backs with Benji Frogwater.
Oh no! There's a love affair.
Wait, sorry, what was that one? What was that one?
There's a romantic affair going on with Benji Frogwater, the boss.
Oh my lord.
The happily married Benji Frogwater Lord.
Oh no!
But yeah,
he's
there
happily
you go.
married. Little bit on the side, little gnome on the
Yeah,
side.
there you go. That's
Oh my
that's
lord.
her one.
That's how we got the bloody company.
Yeah, there you go. She's getting a big
Anyone seen her pay packet? Is it all out?
Yeah, who wants to go on the visuals then? So Kieran's
Someone
done
asked
a
Beaumont
good one.
what his eyes have been seeing through those
Oh,
windows.
God. Nobody's safe
My
now,
lord.
mate.
Okay, so Kieran, you've done yours, but could you give us a little recap on that, just to refresh our mind?
Yeah. So he's kind of just like a I don't know, like 7.5 foot tall lizard folk, which is kind of like resembling a crested gecko, with crests like chevrons going down his back. So it's like the stripes, almost like the pointed stripes going down his back, with like a kind of like also like a crested tail. So his like tail maybe goes like that at the tip, quite a wide tip of the tail. It's like his skin's pretty much his armor, in the way that it's plated.
That's sick.
And he's just got like these. I showed Joe a photo of what I was meaning, but he's almost got like Jedi robes. You know, it's like the V, like the kind like the samurai where it's like one tucked under the other. He's kind of got that, like long like robes with like kind of like baggy trousers and boots, but he's got like cut sleeves. So he's got like like no sleeves on it. And he has like a huge great axe that's got like kind of like a lizard kind of embellished on the axe head. Just like as almost like a reminder or like a remnant of his home. And he's also quite skilled with a javelin. Those are his methods, and he's a barbarian in the path of the berserker. So
oh my lord. So to get that lizard axe, has he come from a bit of money or
no, it's more kind of like looks almost more. It is like hand carved, but it is still made out of metal, if that makes sense. So it's more like I guess a skill of his people, more than
right.
anything.
I see. Okay.
Beaumont, do you want to give us your big one?
Okay, so Beaumont Quell. Yeah, so he's not a large Warforged. Obviously, Warforged come in all shapes and sizes. He's more of a if you could imagine him in the war, he'd be more of a guy running with 2 knives or 2 hand axes, and a bit kind of like jumping and diving over people. That would be his sort of vibe. He's quite a nimble, quite a nimble, dexterous guy. He's standing in at about 5'9", 5'10", and you can't see much of him. He hides a lot of his, not so much on purpose, but he's completely decked out in gentlemanly gear, so kind of like noble looking gear. He'd almost look like almost dressed similar to like a Sherlock Holmes kind of style. So he's kind of got a full kind of suit, 3-piece buttoned up, little kind of leather belt hanging from his side, which he'd holster, probably a small quiver of arrows, a steel blue color, the blazer kind of pennycoat kind of thing coming down to his knees, and a collared cloak. So it's kind of a cloak which kind of peels over to one side, and it's got its own collar, which underneath that has a high collared shirt with a little kind of like old fashioned tie which holds it all together. So a very, very well to do looking man. He has like a tight leather gloves on because he doesn't like to get his hands dirty, both physically and metaphorically. And that all of that draws together to show his warforged face, very similar to a saber look, but obviously doesn't wear a hood or a hat or anything like that. And you can just see like pure kind of like silver ore almost, it looks. So there's not so much. A lot of warforged, they'll have like veins, like ore veins, kind of piercing through their head. Sometimes it'll be wood, sometimes it'll be stone, sometimes it'll be metal. His is kind of like a smooth silver ore. And yeah, as I said before, like a piercing, glowing blue is the color of his eyes. And a lot of the time he'll stand very dignified at all times. His posture means a lot to him, and he'll carry his longbow. He kind of walks with it a lot of the time. He doesn't like to have it over him or anything, because he doesn't like it messing up his outfit or getting caught on his garments and possibly damaging them. A lot of the time he walks with it like a cane. He uses his longbow to walk like a cane. Yeah, that's Beaumont.
Lovely stuff. Read.
So reed, which stands for feather reed grass, if you wanted to know.
Oh,
Good. I like it.
Is a kind of like your average size tabaxi, not muscular, but well built, and there's a bit of definition to him behind.
not wiry, but like ripped.
Yeah. Not like ripped, but not like too lean either. So, Reed is a black tabaxi. However, I think due to his age and kind of what he's been through, there's some silver edges around him, so you can see like the silver edges coming in on his tail, little bits around the eyes, and a little patch kind of like down his chest. So Reed has got a big scar that goes just missing his eye down here, and you can clearly see it because the fur hasn't obviously kind of like grown back over that as well. So he wears everything to do with his craft from his culture, which is kind of like leatherish kind of armors, which he's made himself basically. So, and he's done that, and he's built himself this kind of like leather armor over time in the town, finding resources from Hunter's Crest. So he's also got part of his tail missing. Merchant's
Oh
Rest,
shit!
which he's got part of his tail missing, so you can distinctively see any other tabaxi that you've probably come across. Holy shit! Like there's part of your tail missing. So, which is a story for obviously in game, and the rest of him is kind of quite open. Obviously, he's got like a belt, which he keeps a short sword in. But at the same time, if you used to notice, turn around, and I need to ask the DM about obviously the questions of which weaponry I can use, because I had some ideas. But he's actually mainly focused in the combat of a spearman. So you'll see a short spear on his back, and you look at that and you think that's shorter than your average spear. So again, I'll ask the DM, and we can talk about questions in that whilst we're playing. But then covering the spear, so you just see the tip of the spear, not really the bottom of it because of the shortness of it, is a big silver shield as well on his back. That's kind of Reed.
Love it.
What colour are his eyes?
Oh, he's an eye man.
Reed, I would probably say, has brown eyes.
Gonna say, if they were blue, it could be Beaumont's way out. Like, oh no, it's him looking at you through the window.
No, you're not getting away with that one.
It's a cover story. Good lord, I like it.
Very nice. Yeah.
Well, Lynette, as my wonderful character, gnomish lady. She's under 3 feet tall, so she is a very short girl. She has this kind of, I don't know how to describe it, just white hair, just straight white in a nice platinum white. There you go, in a nice plait, kind of folding down the back and across her shoulder. Her armor is like pristine, untouched. It's a chainmail shirt, but each of the kind of links almost look like raindrops rather than the usual kind of circular links. They all kind of resemble her kind of storm link. She has blue eyes, but she don't think she'd see through a window.
Reed feels like he's the odd one out.
And if you kind of look closely in them, they both look like they have like a silver line through, almost like resembling a lightning strike in her eyes. She always has her shield and her mace on her at all times. Kind of what I've got for her at the moment.
Does she wear like heavy armor, like medium? Like what kind of?
Surely not too heavy.
Whatever chainmail shirt is, I think it's like medium because it doesn't think it has a disadvantage on stealth checks. But
yeah, probably medium or heavy. Then I'd have thought.
She basically stays in that uniform the whole time. She'll go to bed, take it off. As soon as she's out of bed, she's straight back in it, and it always looks perfectly clean. Her face looks perfectly clean. There never looks like there's anything ever out of place for her. She always gives off this kind of calm, relaxed approach, but if you kind of look into those eyes, you can see there's something kind of brewing behind them.
She's killed her family.
Yeah, maybe.
For the entire family, and she's thinking about that affair she's having as well.
But yeah, that's our little Lynette for the group.
She's got frog water on the brain, I tell you.
Well, what can you say? You get a lot of semen near the harbour.
Okay, got it. On that note.
On that note.
Brad's gone.
Heinous.
It's right, the moss just flown at him, he's fucking legged it.
Oh, God.
What's he got? A cake?
Oh, he's getting the protein in.
Oh, dear Lord.
Cakes if you want to see them.
Oh, no.
Hey,
No,
what did you
thank
say?
you.
You've made some cakes?
No. I said I'll show you
No,
the cakes if you want.
he was offering cake, Elliot.
No, Mum brought this in earlier. This is
Oh, it's an
actually
actual cake. Yeah,
a
that's nice too.
custard cream cake with an actual custard cream on the top,
Oh,
which
good
is
Lord.
pretty much made out of this whole thick layer here, from that up, is whatever's made out of the middle of a custard cream. And it's very
Oh my
sickly.
word.
Oh my
that's
God.
So having it in small
That's
doses,
good.
and the bottom
And
is just
basically-
biscuit, but
Basically, if you want one of these viewers, like and subscribe to DiceBoundUK.
Yeah, like and subscribe. But before that, is it a buttery biscuit base or is it a soggy bottom?
It's always a soggy bottom with our brand.
That's true. I'm not talking about the cake, Brad.
Oh,
He's talking
good
about
Lord.
Right, this past 5 minutes is definitely going to
This
get
has descended
scrubbed.
into chaos. This
Yeah,
has
it's going to
descended
get
into chaos.
scrubbed.
Shambles.
Right.
Right. Anything else to add on before we cut
I
it?
don't think so, really, fellas.
No,
Well, leave a
think we
bit of
got-
an intrigue, haven't we?
Oh yes, indeed. Yes, I'm looking forward to some full role play with Beaumont Quell,
Oh,
the
good
Gentleman Warforged.
Lord. I like it.
Oh, Lord.
Well,
He's
yeah,
literally
about
just
that.
going to be watching Eubank videos, isn't he? The whole time.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, should I do like a full-on like a stupendous like? But
I would love
thinking
it.
the microphones
Mate,
are not
that
gonna
was
pick,
too
they're not
good.
it's too soft for the microphones to pick it up. So I was like, I'm gonna have to go just a bit more, a bit different, a different gentlemanly vibe.
That
Oh
was
my
so
God.
good.
I'd have been in stitches the whole session as well. That might not have worked out in our favour.
Right, well, with that then,
Right,
that's DiceBound UK. GG's.
UK, and we will see you on the one shot on
See you
Friday.
later.